Okay, great. So my name is Danilo Ra, whichever one you prefer. I'm here with Katie Nitah, the HJR Navigator. So she helps others to connect with their God source, first eternal self, to remember who they are as powerful multidimensional beings. And that is a lot to say. That's quite a mouthful. So wondering, Katie, if you can help me understand, um, what is HJR and what is a navigator? Maybe we can start on the first item. Um, our focus here is to learn more about the Harmonizing Journey to Realignment seminar series, which you've called HJR. What is a navigator, and how does that relate to HJR?
A navigator, from what I've been learning, is an ancient soul who is able to navigate their way through the portals or neural network pathways or energy centers and energy lines, so to speak, of the eternal mind. So that would be, it's traditionally been through the planet, the Marys is another term that's been used, doing gridkeeper work, as well as going into different dimensional realms. And so basically, we hold space, we help ones basically navigate and connect into your eternal internal core of your authentic source being self, sometimes called higher self, soul, spirit, whatever term that you feel comfortable using, but it's connecting to your authentic expression or your clan family, because we're multidimensional. It's a journey, right? Not something you just get a degree on or whatever and you're that way. It's an evolving process, and it's harmonizing all your different aspects, all your different selves into who you are here and now. So it's a harmonizing journey, realignments, because the neural network pathways have been altered and changed. So that's part of that net system.
So how does one become a navigator? How did you? I mean, are you a navigator? I know you and I had a personal conversation where you talked to me a little bit about your future inner higher aspects, and you saw yourself, and you literally are a navigator. So this isn't something that you can necessarily, snap your fingers and do. This is one of your innate skills. Am I saying this correctly? Am I understanding?
It's what I came here to do, and I've been doing it for many millennia. And someplace I'll have the code that was basically on a staff, but it's actually an internal staff, but also was symbolically a staff that you could hold, and with a symbol on top of being able to open gates and go through different timelines and do different things. And so that's what I've been reconnecting with. And it's reconnecting with me. Nitah is a nickname of my harmonized expressions together. And then through that, coming in this time-space reality, which is always what the purpose was for who we are, to express in all dimensional realms fully and completely.
Great. So it sounds like we're defining HJR already. So I mean the term itself, harmonizing journey to realignment. And so when I hear this phrase, it sounds like I'm essentially realigning to my core purpose. And your role as a navigator is to help people like me, or anyone really, to not define us, but help us remember how we are defining ourselves.
Yes, I do it for you. You do it. I hold a space for you to do it, because of the fact that things are a bit distorted. It's not easy like it used to be millennia ago to connect. Navigators were trained to be able to come in and help navigate through the twists. to make the connection. And I guess a little added bit, maybe a little bit sooner, but I get that I need to say now about the Aurora Continuum, which is part of the New Earth. Aurora New Earth is basically a bypass system to connect from this outer light body structure called the earth plane that we understand with our internal eternal spirit body or expression, where we were first birthed out of, become manifest expression, because we're actually eternal source conscious beings, and we never get it wrong because we never get it done, because we're always evolving and growing and expanding. It's not a soul is not static. It's ever evolving and expanding.
So that's important. That's really important, and that's why I really gravitate to your work. Use the terms original, organic, first state of being, your inner self. So all of that really resonates, and we'll touch a little bit more on what organic versus artificial means later in this conversation. But essentially, you help folks reconnect to their internal, eternal self. And it sounds like the Aurora Continuum is one tool, one platform to help us, all of us, do that in this current time, which we call ascension.
Yes.
Great. So how did you... Mm-hmm.
I was just feeling that because New Earth is such a big thing out there right now, and people are trying to get what that means. And when you bring your eternal expression into this light body, time, space reality of the outer realms, the Aurora Earth or New Earth is the manifestation of that. And that's what I'm here to do, is to create, is give a space for myself to create it for me, and hold that space for others as well, because we create our own reality, period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. We create our either by, which is going to bring another question, which is either by default or intentionally, mindfully. And we want to create now mindfully and not by default. So that's being mindful of our thoughts, feelings, and actions, and really understand that mechanics, which is part of my cat, Callie. Yeah, she says enough of that.
Sounds like he agrees with you.
Yeah. So yes, really understanding the cheilontic science, which is the foundation of the material that I work with. So that's another question. Cheilontic science is the foundation. And that's the science of creation, of manifestation, of base codes of matter, which is basically symbol codes, which is basically when we hold something in our mind, when we have an image of something, we have also information of what that image means, and that creates. And the more we feel it, we generate quantum and energy and make it more solidified.
So it sounds like, and this is just, I have the benefit of having talked with you about this several times, but it sounds like HJR, Harmonizing Journey to Realignment, the seminar series and everything that you do is really a culmination of your own personal journey, not only as a navigator, but a human being dealing with the everyday things that we deal with, family, bills, job, stress, all of that, and trying to awaken and stay on mission for what it is that we came to do. It sounds like HJR is really all of the tools at your disposal, multidimensional tools, and you've created a process to help others go through that same journey and really streamline that. Am I missing anything? Who do you... Why did you create HJR? Am I understanding this correctly? I know you've talked about your multidimensional clan family. Tell me a little bit about why you're doing this.
Yeah, it's created from my own personal journey of working through my stuff and my issues, especially when 2012 hit. There was a lot of stuff going on energetically, and I was able to, again, cheilontic science is the foundation, but upon that is also Seth by Jane Roberts, Abraham Hicks, Science of Mind. Very much were supports with that, but with the Chelonic science is working with the Alhambra, the liquid crystal plasma people, something like that. And they're from the eternal domains. And they actually are the stewards, the magistrators of the how you create your reality, of the laws, of the law of one, basically. That's really what the law of one is. It's the science behind how you create your reality and what that's all about. And they came in at a particular time and really helped me get grounded and stabilized and bring my eternal being in. And then I learned more that I am a navigator and what that's about. And just my
So
struggle.
it's different.
Okay.
No, sorry to cut you off. So it sounds like you're taking your own personal experiences, you wrap them up into this kind of cohesive body of work that has these other bodies of work, which on their own are pretty vast. And you mentioned quite a few, and so you've integrated them together, and on their own that can be a
Self
challenge.
the self-empowerment principles of awareness are part of putting all those different teachings together. And that's a handbook that I have as well for people.
So how do you integrate all of that and kind of bring it to life through what it is that you do?
Through the creation of the private sessions, my self-empowerment principles of awareness book, I've been guided very strongly over a long period of time, trial and error, trying this works, that doesn't work, blah, 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 putting it all together. Working with the quantum hypnosis information, bringing that in. I've created HJR seminars. It's a 6-month, it's a 6-month course. We meet every 2 weeks for about 2 to 3 hours, depending upon the energy of how things are going. And I guess I'll just talk about what's involved with that. We might as well. This is the book. Okay. Over 100 pages. So you can see that's the classroom, basically, which is also a representation of something called the pod space, or the Mashayahana prayer salon, which is when we go into the journey, we're connecting with basically this teardrop-like shaped structure. And there's in the center called a manifestation template. We all have a manifestation template. Our D12 avatar self connects into this spot here, and then connects into these aquifers or Ave dream stream, which connects into our eternal expression. And we're very easily able to connect into Aurora Earth beneath us, of that continuum, of that energy. The Aya opening at the top opens up neural network pathways of other kind of pod spacey connections of higher domains we can connect in, and a lot of the rewiring comes in. This is also right here representation of the energy, pillar of peace energy that comes in, as well as a rainfall, waterfall, but it's also a representation of, through that lens, bringing in the Alhambra frequencies, and the Alesa frequencies come through as well. And the 3 suns that came in through the Trinity suns that came in through the central sun of our eternal expression, of the mechanics of true manifestation, of true creation. So you're really bringing in a lot. And it's your own anatomy, really. It's reawakening to your own anatomy in a very special way, connecting into a place called Sanctuary Island. So that's what we work with. And then, of course, we have the SEPAs, which, I don't know if this is going to come up or not. Okay. Self-empowerment principles of awareness. Ring body, the essence of the law of one, because really that's kind of boogered up, in my opinion. We're still looking at something outside ourselves. We're still not getting, we are it. I am. Really understanding that. Really getting these principles under us so that when we do look at all the other things out there, we have a strong foundation of who we are eternally as a spirit, as consciousness, awareness, and stable in that. We can take on other bits and pieces of things that resonate with us. Take what we like, leave the rest. Because each of us have our own unique template of how we function, how we receive vital life force energy, which is another thing about the class that when I work with people, is I also look at helping them learn what their soul template is of how they receive vital life force energy and their soul origination, where they originally came from. So that's an added piece to kind of bring to the table when we work. Each of these sessions in this, out of this workbook, there is a video that goes with it, supplemental video goes with it. So it's not just reading out of the book, it's also me talking about it as well as part of the package.
Now, just don't mean to cut you off, but you said a few things there that were really, really interesting. And so to kind of wind back a little bit, you mentioned that the focus of what you do is you're a navigator and you help others connect to their internal, eternal, multidimensional self. And so I heard you saying, mention the pod space and connecting here and going there. I get a little nervous when folks tell me to connect with something. I try to really maintain my integrity and look within. So help me understand why the pod space is so important, how that connects to Aurora Earth, and why these platforms are so important in the time we're living in now. And essentially where I'm getting with this is help me understand first creation mechanics and what Aurora Earth's role is in helping us navigate, where we are today.
All right. First off, I think I said it before, but I'll just reiterate it and make it stress it even more important. I'm connecting you to you, your own anatomy. I'm not manipulating. I'm not having any other beings, because all the other teachings out there have some other being coming in. We'll save you. We'll look after you. We'll do this for you. We'll do that for you. No. When I work with the Alhambra and my clan family and the Mashayahanas, and there's a whole bunch of Guardians Alliance, we're all holding space for you. We're not. So it means you're following your own unique expression of being. So you develop at your own rate, your own time. And why that's so important right now is because, and I kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, the kind of net energy, we've been shut off. The neural network pathways, we've kind of been shut off from that. And the Aurora Continuum is like a bypass to connect in and connect into the phones and bring that in. The pod space is part of that mechanics, is so that we can connect to our family, who we are as the all that is, and really express that fully and completely here. So, so again, that's the eternal, the first creation mechanics, how we birthed in to manifest expression or creation of the light body structure. Because really this body is a reflection, a holographic projection of who I really am, or who we really are. Because really who we are is it, the all that is, God source first eternal, Aya, which just sees and experiences things completely different than how we do here. So really making that connection is just a whole different expression, but you can do it very easily with the pod space. But it takes time. It's a journey, process of realigning. But the reason we need to realign, why I keep bringing that up, the net, is because we're powerful creators. We created something called what I like to call second creation finite mechanics. Some will call it fallen mechanics. Some might even say evil. Fight or flight program. Um, there's not enough. We're small. We're little. We're not okay. We need saviors to take care, to look after us and save us, because we just can't do it on our own because we're just little and finite. Program and the VV game. Those are programs we created for the being the eternal beings that we are, and ever expanding and ever evolving and growing. We knew that we could experience being, we needed to experience being finite, which meant forgetting who we are, so that we could experience forgetting who we are and following those experiences, because we knew ultimately our light body structure might become space dust, might fragment, but who we are will sustain and maintain. And the space dust, so to speak, the fragments will always go back into the hole and be rebirthed again. But in this time space reality, we're wanting to not be space dust. We're wanting to bring back all the memory, all of these experiences of finite creation, of second creation mechanics. We're bringing it back into the whole. So that's the power also of the Aurora Continuum, the bypass system, is being able to bring that, kind of almost like rolling up the film of those memories and bringing them back into the libraries, so to speak. So we have them for reference. But then with that, embodying more of who we are again, once again, fully awakened awareness.
Now, you mentioned, you refer to Aurora Earth and the work that you do and the pod space as a bypass system. And I want to highlight a little bit of the reasons why that's so important. And I think that most of us, as we go through our awakening process, we the first place we go is on the internet. And the internet is absolutely bombarded with, things such as, tarot cards, channeling, ascended masters, um, chakras, and these things, which I call, really mainstream. Uh, I don't want to use the term new age, but spiritual concepts. And so the challenge here is that the reality that we find ourselves in is essentially a fallen system where everything operates in reverse. The Earth's grids are distorted. The mathematical basis for the laws of physics in this reality are different than the quote unquote first eternal, which is connected to source and the deity planes. That is where the D12 avatar self that you refer to resides. Our not our higher self, but one of our higher selves that is beyond duality, beyond manipulation. It can't be affected by these distortions and reversals. And so when we go through our typical awakening process, we'll, connect to our higher self or some other being or some, angelic quote unquote energy. A lot of us, we won't validate that. We'll assume that whatever's beautiful and caring is positive. And so we go down these rabbit holes, and then eventually we figure out that, hey, I don't feel right. I'm completely ungrounded. I'm drained. I'm angry. Why is this so hard? And so it's because we're trying to force ourselves to integrate into this energy that is not us. And so going through this bypass system and connecting to the D12 avatar on Aurora Earth through the pod space is a bypass system that gets us around all of these layers of an artificial matrix that slow us down from connecting to ourselves and bringing down our full frequency. So it sounds like that's why this process is so important. It would take me years, and actually hundreds of years, to get to Aurora Earth manually. So what you're doing is you're basically creating almost like a Stargate through the work and through the work that you do in your sessions. Stop me if I'm going in the
Well,
wrong direction.
you're doing great. Just two things I wanted to make sure that I got said. One is I didn't create that bypass system. um, Arrays Productions, Ashiana Dean, Azurite Press, that org group. She did it with, of course, all the Indigos working with her throughout since I think 1998. So now she's been working with the Guardian Alliance, with the Alhambra, we all working together created this bypass system. I just utilize it in my own unique way. So all the terminology that I use is their terminology, not mine, but I use it in my own unique way. And another thing that I wanted to add with that, though, that is kind of something unique to me, is when I had went into 2012, when all the stuff was hitting the fan, with things that were going on energetically. And I was initially working with the Alhambra and Sanctuary Islands. There are different states of planes of consciousness that are embedded within the morphinogenic field of Earth. There's ones below it, or islands of consciousness below it and above it. So I connect starting at Sanctuary Island and then moving up. Okay. But on Sanctuary Island, I had said, hey guys, can you create a place there where I can work with people to connect with their personal pod pod spaces. And I kind of got a yes, but it'll give us some time. And then that took about a couple years. And then I got the go, yeah, okay, now really work doing it, and then started involving the sessions. So that's something unique I feel that I created. So when you see the image that I created of the island and the little building there, that was what I had worked with Alhambra to create, but everything else is not mine. The other thing that I wanted to say that I thought was very good that you said, and is really significant and important, and brings in a lot of what I'm involved with the Seth material and so forth, is all the Michael, Archangel Michael, all these deities, all these ascended masters, which they're ascended basically, most of them, to harmonic universe 2, which would be considered the angelic realm, where we go heaven when we pass. It's like the second density plane up. It's not really that. But anyway, although Archangel Michael's, I think, higher than that. But all these are deities that we think are better than us and that we need to follow. The thing is, we have in our different harmonic universes or density planes or realms, multidimensional realms, we have our parts of ourselves in them. We have our angelic realm, we have our oversoul level, our avatar, our Rishi, on out. We have access to that, and part of that bypass system makes it easier to connect with them. We can get good pieces of information from these different sources. Like I said, take what you like, leave the rest. But ultimately, all of them are only worth their salt if they work with you and support you to connect with your eternal internal core of your brain, your higher self, your avatar, your Rishi. Okay. If they don't do that, they're not worth their salt. So that's a good kind of gauge when you're working with some of them. But again, they all have an organic root. Nothing that's manifest, no matter how artificial or finite it may get, it has an organic root, and it always has some good information. Okay, I just wanted to get that said. Okay.
Yeah, thanks for explaining that. And as you're speaking, I can't help but notice that you use the words creation, creating, manifest. All of these things that have to do with making something. And so, you and I have talked a great deal about the importance of creating intentionally versus by default, and why that's so important. And when we're creating here, in 3D or 4D, we create based on a set of assumptions, and we use the logical mind, the mental body, a lot, but our entire being is so much more vast. And so it's so important to connect with that D12 avatar self to bring in our soul mission, our personal frequency. And so when creating intentionally, in my opinion, we're able to connect with our internal, eternal first creation self and make
Wanna
plans from that center, as
yeah,
opposed to letting the hologram dictate what it is that I create. If we're sovereign beings, if we're creators, well, we darn sure want to create what we want to create. So tell me about why creating intentionally is so important and how your process fits into that.
okay. All right. With that, there's something called a cathartic structure. It's part of chelonic science. It has to do with energy science and energy centers. It also has to do with our chakra system. Why we have a chakra system is because of the cathartic structure, which is part of the template or blueprint that our avatar self originally was created on. And again, I said there's the soul, or we're the incarnate level, there's a soul level. The incarnate would be represented in our root chakra, our sacral, and our solar plexus. Our heart, throat, and pineal is our angelic soul realm. Okay, the two together, working to have the two together. And then we have other spheres within spheres around that. But it's energy centers and energy lines. Okay, the center, energy center, pulsating energy center, and the energy lines that run out. So it's kind of like the neuronal structure as well. We have the neuronal structure within our body, and it goes and connects energetically to those spheres outside of us. Central body current, because we have the main chakras of energy centers and lines crossing over certain ways, connect certain ways. Okay. Breath, so important, perpetually renewing. We can connect into those energy centers and lines in the flow, but you have to be mindful of how you're feeling. So it's not just, if I think enough and I really think I want this, it'll happen. That's part of it. But you have to feel how you're feeling about it. And we have our what's called transparent beliefs. Everything is actually belief. Everything is a thought you keep thinking and you generate through your feeling and your breath. You make it flesh out in the holographic reality. So we have a lot of these flash line sequences or particades of thought intention, part of the chelonic science of creation. And they generate into grids and chelon codes, little pyramid shaped structures of reality. And they get so big and strong they become transparent, such as there's gravity. And we have as a collective, we all work to have gravity. That's a science, one of the sciences, one of the divine laws. And many other sciences of how the sun's going to come up, sun's going to go down. People are evil, people are good. These beliefs that they become so ingrained, they're like transparent. We see through them, yet they're still running the show. But you can feel them or get to know them by how you feel. Whenever you think about something, you tune in, you get the energy of it. And that's what I get with the self-empowerment principles of awareness. We get really step by step go through really how to identify it and work with it and make shifts. Did I answer did I answer your question? Do I need
Yeah, yeah, more or less. But again,
what
it sounds like we come in. Many of the folks who see this video are going to be star seeds, or not, and that's fine too. But we come into this very overpowering thought form that we call a hologram, that we call 3D Earth or 4D Earth, and it's got a lot of creation codes behind it. A lot of it is done on purpose, and it's designed to confuse us and slow us down. And so, what HJR for me, in my opinion, does that's so important is it connects us. It helps us bypass a lot of the net frequencies, the frequency fence, reconnect to our D12 avatar self, kind of say, like, it's kind of like a huddle in football or a scrum in rugby. We say, all right,
Okay.
team, why
I
are we
missed something.
here?
I missed. Hold on. I know what I missed.
Yeah.
With the breathing thing in the pod space, and I was talking about connecting to the Alhambra energies and the Alesi, which again, not my terminology. And I had showed in the diagram here with your manifestation template, D12 avatar connecting into your eternal structure, and the Aya opening, bringing in the Alhambra frequencies and the Alesi, and there's some others that we work with as well over time. It's a beautiful, powerful pillar, and it works with your central body current that I just discussed. So it really works with the rewiring, the realigning naturally to you, following what you're okay with. If you're not okay, you can say, stop, not right now, let's do it later, or whatever you want to do. But it is working with you becoming more focused, clear, peaceful, and tuned, awake and aware and able, being able to sense out quicker what those transparent beliefs, what those earth programs are that are running in the earth grids. The grid is, earth is alive too. It's multidimensional as well. Earth, Terra, Gaia, Aramatena, on out of its different dimensional spheres within spheres of expression, its own neural network pathways within its structure. So it has its programs. And we all connect to something called the biofeed interface system through our root chakra, connecting to the core of the earth, of its kind of, in essence, root chakra. And so what affects us affects the earth. What affects the earth affects us. So the more mindful we are and more in tune of these programs, we shift them in ourselves. We also shift into the more connected field world, our own lone harmonic world we create around us. We're connected into the earth plane. So we also connect into others' holograms, but it's still our own unique hologram. We still see the world unique to ourselves. But we all have combined agreements, such as chairs, tables, trees, that kind of, saying. But each tree, when we look at it, we see it just a little bit different than the person next to us. Well, it's still seeing a tree, but we each see different things or aspects of it different than the other. So, okay. Does that explain it? Or
Yeah.
did you
So essentially, we have this, you know, really convincing, excuse me, really convincing hologram that we call reality, and we want to come in and really do our part and help the world evolve. And we have these huge ideas and things that we want to do, but really the most important thing we can do is to express our original, eternal, God self in physical form. By doing that, we then heal the Earth's grids, and then we raise up the average frequency of the planet. And so the work is not external, it's internal. And so when you and I have talked about creating intentionally, the reason that's so important is if we connect to our D12 self or higher, not only are we beyond the distortions and the manipulation, we're able to bring in and embody our actual purpose, the innate skills, talents, and experiences that we have, and we're able to make a bigger impact. Now, I know for me, I've done a lot of work on myself, but I still got huge, massive benefits from my experience on Aurora Earth with your great navigation ability. I've, healing issues around my heart chakra from, angelic wars millions of years ago, and also discovering some of my, or rediscovering my natural energy centers, and which is not talked about almost anywhere. And so, wondering if we could talk about, which all of that, by the way, in turn helps me create more intentionally within my power. A lot of us already know about, manifestation and emotions, but creating intentionally from the D12 perspective and anchoring that in is so profound. It's so easy. It just comes naturally. I think that that's one of the kind of byproducts of HJR and other tools, and why your work is so important. But speaking of my own transformation, could you tell me a little bit more about the transformation that other folks experience? Because it's different for everyone, right? Uh, Aurora Earth is completely, if it's based on connecting to myself, we're all different. So, what are some of the things that people experience with you in your work that you've seen?
Um, a lot of kind of what you just said, transformation of clearing a lot of blocks that they had to connecting to their higher aspects, which affects the relationships with others, their work situations, um, just different aspects of their personal life. They many times will come in like, why am I here? What's my purpose? Can get answered. Um, Many times I kind of wonder, where did I come from? So that'll get answered. Um,
Actual soul origin and soul
yeah,
group.
that soul group, and
That's huge in my opinion.
yeah, because you're connecting with your clan family, who you are is all it is. So you get it brought in a way that's significant and important for you. Because again, everybody's template's different. Some may experience it as colors, a feeling. They may be an orb. They might be a bird. There's just all kinds of different ways that they organically experience who they are. And sometimes they may get detailed name stuff or not. It depends on their template. But they'll always get it what's significant and important for them and able to take that and apply it in their personal life and making changes.
Yeah, and
I like
I can tell you from my experience, I was surprised of the types of changes I started to see in my own hologram and the depth of healing that I experienced. So for me, having walked in, um, having done a lot of work over the years in terms of DNA repair, auric clearing, etc., resolving karmic loops, I was able to really take the top off my experience the first time we went to Aurora Earth, and I went back a long time and saw a specific trigger event that caused me to compensate for a great loss. And I was compensating for that life after life after life, trying to repair this ancient wound. And after my session, I cried after the fact from all the healing. It was great. And in my own personal life, maybe 30 to 40% of what I'd been working on and doing in physical reality, I realized, hey, this is a byproduct of this ancient wound. I don't have to feel that anymore. Like it's healing. And that opened up so much more time and energy for pure creation, not just reacting to a past trauma. And for star seeds and ancient beings, there's some really heavy stuff out there. And so if we're able to repair one or two of these really important trigger events, we're able to free ourselves tremendously and create from the avatar, from the soul level. So for me, at least, that manifested in terms of even better health, a lot more joy, balance, and authentic expression within my original blueprint. And so, I was a little skeptical at first, like, I lead myself. I know what I'm doing for myself. I follow myself. But really, that Aurora Earth experience for me was a massive transformation. And things just bounced off me so easily after the fact. And I'm able to anchor in that frequency very easy. And each time I've done it, it's been different. And I've always focused on a high priority issue that was urgent for me at the time. So it was really, really customizable. So for me, at least, the transformation was pretty epic, and I'm
I
sure you
got
have so many
I
stories.
actually have a question for you.
Yeah.
You have training in quantum hypnosis or
Yes.
form of it, and I incorporate some of it in, but I also bring in other elements of the pod space and feeling science and
Yes.
all different elements. What would you say is different from having my session? As I'm kind of putting you on the spot, because kind of the difference between my session and when you had a traditional quantum hypnosis, because most people know what quantum hypnosis is, and
It's a
they feel
fantastic question.
um, and they have their certification. So, and I don't. So, kind of, what is the difference?
That's a fantastic question. That's a really fantastic question. I've been trained by Candace Craw Goldman. I've gone to Siesta Key. I've done the whole thing, and quantum hypnotherapy, quantum hypnosis. You have QHHT and the Dolores Cannon method, and the new Beyond Quantum Healing. So I'm certified in the Beyond Quantum Healing, which is a lot more flexible. And so, in these types of sessions, you'll typically really connect to yourself at the soul level. But the main difference is with a typical quantum healing session, you're speaking to yourself at the soul level typically, which let's say dimensions 4, 5, and 6, and maybe a little higher depending on who you are. And a lot of the memories and issues that come up will still be within a fallen finite system. So you came in, you incarnated, and you stepped your consciousness down, and you're experiencing Earth or Terra, Gaia, Maldek, Mars, all of these different places. And that's all accurate. But as we incarnate and as we have these experiences, there is memory fragmentation and DNA template damage. So the big difference for me with HJR is that you take this uh, quantum hypnotherapy process that is beyond space-time. It connects you to yourself, but it's like looking at the original source code for your soul at the avatar level, where you're able to tap into the combined creativity, experience, intuition, and love of all of your aspects at once without distortion. So you don't have to fight through the filters. You don't have to worry about external manipulation, random entities coming into your session. You also create that pod space. You have an invocation. You set a frequency, and you've got the complete support of the council. So you've got massive support to create this love bubble where I'm able to connect with myself. That is super powerful because a lot of hypnotherapy professionals, they'll get interference from other beings, and they won't have a specific protocol they won't have a shield or anything that creates that safety, that clarity of communication. And I'm not talking about channeling, but having that pure one-to-one conversation with yourself. It's so difficult because when you tap into your true self, you're an omnipotent creator, and you can just really make a lot of change. So for me, um, traditional quantum hypnotherapy tools and processes are great starting points, but there's this element of protection and clarity that's missing. I'm not saying it's not there. It depends on the individual. A session with me would be very different than a session with someone that doesn't have, a lot of DNA activation healing in the background. So I don't know if that answers your question. That's a really long answer, but HJR incorporates a lot of the
Did
elements of quantum hypnotherapy with the minimum D12 frequencies that
it's such
really take the top off. Because you can do everything there. You can tap into 4, 5, 6, but you can go all the way up to 12 and beyond. And you and I
yeah.
have gone beyond that.
When you connect with your Mashayahana pod space or prayer salon, that's connecting into a much higher realm. You're connecting into the inner domains. Uh, you're doing that as opposed to the outer. All these different domains I've been talking about are still all in the outer realm. They're still all manifest structures, light body structures that are a program. That are a program. So yeah, when you
Yeah,
start getting
and
domains, it stops being a program and being more authentic, organic, conscious expression.
yeah, and all these tools can be used as complements to one another. And what I like about your process is, you've taken the different bodies of work, you've looked at, hey, what are the strengths? What are the weaknesses? And you've kind of combined a lot of the strengths, made it more digestible, and put them together in this kind of package that someone can very rapidly go from, hey, my
Right.
relationships aren't working, to, hey, it's because, I was married to this person in Egypt and that's what's causing it. And so you can really get to the root and bypass a lot of this stuff and really create change.
Um, I luckily, my energy center, I have two energy centers that I received Vitalite of my blueprint template is divine wisdom and divine love. So that's why divine wisdom is able to bring together the different teachings and put them all together in this more manifest expression, taking the divine laws of spirit and bring them in and put them together. So that's my skill set. Um,
HJR sessions, they're 6-month bi-weekly programs. They start with private one-on-one sessions, you and me individually, and then where we connect to the pod space on Aurora Earth. Then we also meet as a group on Aurora Earth, working through Skype along with Clan Family, and we address major topics. So some of the tools that we have to assist us in that journey are, the 100-page workbook with all of these different bodies of knowledge. We have how-to instructional videos for each assignment that we can view on our own. We've got a lifetime membership to a private alumni group. Other folks that have gone through this journey and working on other things, we can connect there. We've got recordings of all of the group sessions that we can listen to on our own. That's separate from, the lessons. And we've got, the private sessions, which actually there's two of them. And those on their own are one-on-one, and they can be they're customizable. We can make them what we need them to be, based on things that we've seen. And one of my personal favorites is the soul realignment reading, where we touch upon the energy center and soul family origination. That for me is, one of my favorites. If I'm a really great baseball player and I'm playing hockey, I might want to check out my baseball playing background and see what I can do there. So for me, that's my metaphor or analogy for the energy center and why it's so powerful to create from the energy center. So there's a lot there that, students would get. There's a lot of tools in place, and you have a really well thought out process. Um, how would I sign up now? I know, you're making several changes and it's expanding, and everything's kind of in flux, getting better and better. How would I learn more? What's the best way for me to learn more about what you're doing or to
well,
sign up?
yeah, we'll have a link down below that you can, um, you have choices or and/ors. You can sign up for the mailing list, HJR Seminars mailing list, and also that will put you in, um, if you want to attend the Q&A session on August 8th for the seminar that's going to be coming up, HJR seminar that's going to be coming up starting in September. So yes, our next class is going to be starting in September. I'm so excited. this first class has been awesome. And also there'll be a link if you want to do a private session. And if you're just ready to go ahead and sign up for the seminar, there'll be a link for that. So yes, it's real easy.
What have you seen as the major difference between, we know one-on-one is one-on-one, but what are some of the added experiences of going through a seminar with a group of people or with a set of really serious folks that are, really pushing forward with their own journeys? I want to say what I've experienced and the benefit of having different DNA templates in one session, but in your words, what are some of the reasons that a group experience would be interesting or beneficial?
it's kind of why we have classes to begin with. There's something about bringing together different people's energy and how they see the world and what they just bring to the table. Because one person will see one thing, another person will see something else or experience something else, and we kind of all put it together. We all validate that we're all kind of seeing the same thing. It's not just in our heads. We're actually experiencing this. This is organic. It's real. Um, and it just allows more quantum, more energy to brought in to make that connection. It's just unique and powerful in and of itself. So why don't you go ahead and say your bit with that?
Yeah, there's several reasons why. Some folks will start with with their own private healings and trying different modalities. Then they'll maybe go to a one-on-one session with a navigator specifically designed to connect them to D12 if they're unable to do that, or to strengthen that connection. Once you feel that your template is nice and healed and you're really starting to embody more frequency, more of who you really are, you can't help but say, hey, no, there's no one like me where I live. How do I connect with peers or other beings on a similar journey to Aurora Earth? And so this is where the value of a group session comes in. You have the added benefit of beings who have incarnated on different star systems in different roles, performing different functions. They've got different energy centers. Their DNA templates are in different states of healing, and you're on different parts of the planet. And so, depending on where your course is, or where your other students are, you can be in multiple parts of the world and heal different places depending on what's needed most. I know there's been times we had an unexpected experience where we were in a session, and then beings came in to our session because of the location where I was, and we were able to create massive healings for that part of the planet. And I would have never. It was totally surprising and unexpected, and it was one of the most beautiful memories and things that I'd ever experienced. So the benefit of having that group environment with a navigator and other individuals who on their own have a lot of knowledge, it's like learning from other masters, okay, which is what Earth was supposed to be. And so imagine a few people all connecting to their D12 self with very little interference and distortion, expressing who they are. I mean, wow, you've got an all-star lineup of beings, like a great jazz band. You're each just kind of jamming, and the kind
I'm,
of music that you can create is just fantastic.
I'm always told by the guardians, just show up.
Yeah,
They rarely, every once in a while, I'll get a little bit of what to tune into, but for the most part, it's show up, show up, show up. Um, so I merge together because that's my skill set. I merge, they bring in their stuff, so I connect into it. I also have my agenda, the material, and bring that in, and somehow it just harmonizes together, and we have a pretty powerful session. It all works
yeah.
together. Yeah.
And what I love is you've created you have a structure and a blueprint through your workbook and your syllabus, so to speak, and it can be adapted to the times. As we've gone through our group sessions, there's been geopolitical events, there's been changes to the earth energetically, and depending on what's needed, we're able to apply what we can in a way that's needed most. And so
Remember, yeah.
it's very fulfilling.
Remember when I said we all have our own lone harmonic, our own world that we create? That's part of that mechanics is when we go into these sessions, we're really shifting our world. And that shifts that morphogenetic field that we connect into the earth, through the root chakra of the earth plane, so that it out pictures out to what we connect with on the mass level. So that's that power, especially when we come together as a group. So we're really building quantum and charge with a group of morphogenic fields really coming in together. And then that allows for our bigger plans to all come in. And usually I've been noticing these groups they're family. They know each other on a higher level, and they've worked it out to come together, to work together for the 6-month period. And yes, You make a lot of a lot of powerful shifts. And again, it's like, I know, because I get feedback from the other members. I'll be seeing things, and then they say, basically, I tend to be pretty quiet. I let the group talk and do their thing. If I'm not getting a lot, then I'll sort of say stuff, but I try to have it be where the group talks and shares and experiences, and then I kind of go, yeah, okay, yeah, and then I'll add my 12 cents in there to really get it solidified and really get it together. But yes, it's very much you guys doing your thing. I'm holding space for it, and adding a little here and a little there to kind of make it work, to gel better.
Right. And so so it's, for me, it's been fantastic, a really unpredictable, unique, creative experience. We've gone to all 4 or 5 harmonic universes. We've helped literally, and I'm not exaggerating, hundreds of thousands of beings. We have healed our own individual DNA templates on major issues that we've been working on. And in a very loving and protected way, and it's been wonderful. Now, I know you have a really strict limit on the number of folks that you work with at any given time.
I got the number from clan is 12. I could go as much as 15, but 12 seems to be the magic number.
Yeah, I like the number 12 also, the D12 avatar self. And what we really want to bring down is base 12 mathematical creation, which is the organic. So you've got 12 students per seminar. So September is right around the corner. So action is probably going to be important to get into the next session. And do you have a waiting list or anything like that?
And yes, if all 12 fills up and there are people that wanted to get in but they didn't get in time, we'll definitely have a waiting list. Get your name down, and then when time gets close, we're going to ask, hey, you still interested? And then you'll probably want to put a deposit down down the road. But yes, we will have a waiting list.
Okay. And
so you want to make sure you sign up on the mailing list so that I got you.
Right. And I know you've developed a few options for deposit, and you're pretty flexible on that. And obviously there needs to be an equal exchange of energy for the type of experience being created, which is profound and just unforgettable. So and to make it clear, we're not just going on vacations here. We are healing ourselves, we are healing grids, we are healing entire clan groups,
especially with what's being outpictured right now globally, with the pandemic, or all that's been happening, taking the reins of our reality in hand. What have we been creating? What are we outpicturing? We can shift it. It doesn't have to be bad. There's actually a lot of really good stuff going on, but we got to line up to it. We're either going to line up by default with the finite, or line up mindfully with the perpetually renewing organic first expression.
Right.
And that's what people do that I haven't seen really with any other program. I've seen other programs do pieces, but not to this level, honestly. That's why I created it.
Yeah, and that's what I love about your process. You can be someone making career plans, or a business owner, or a healer. Like it's whatever you need it to be to help you make fundamentally sound decisions in alignment with who you are before you touched any of the finite creation to mechanics. And that's super, super important. So
that's right. When you sign up for the mailing list, thank you, Danilo. When you sign up for the mailing list, you will be sent through your welcome letter a PDF that has my bio, frequently asked questions that clarifies a lot more than what we even said today, and the written form of an introductory session, and an audio version of the introductory session. You can start practicing on your own and see how it feels for you. And if it's something that resonates with you and you want to continue doing even more work with it, then you'll go ahead and sign, want to have a private session or sign up for the class or whatever resonates for you, or just continue with what I had sent you with the introductory session. It's great too. Everybody's unique to their own.
Great.
That
Yeah.
was important.
So it sounds like whether my interests are law of one or manifestation or inner healing, there's something that I can pull from the program that would help me explore those individual areas or all of them. Great.
Exactly. Well, you get them all.
Great.
You get them all. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, Katie Oshiwanita, the HJR Navigator, thank you so much for your time and helping us understand what it is that you do and why you're so passionate about it. And I honor you and
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for your time.